Welcome. I'm Danielle Sally.
And I'm Eva Fusa.
And you're listening to Ghost Boss, stories about the freelance afterlife. Hey, ghosties.
Hey.
Yes, just the two of us in the studio.
Aww.
It feels like, it's funny. We got so used to our guest setup that Eva and I were kind of struggling with what do we do with just two people again?
Well, and we have a new setup that we'd set up for the guests, and now we're using it for us, which is great. But now I have to look through
at
a cord.
Yeah, before we were
see your
looking
face.
over. It's a whole thing.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I really want to yank that cord out of my phone, but I can't because that's how we record the video.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a problem.
What? Next time we'll figure these things out.
We're doing great.
But okay, so we're back in the studio, just the two of us, and we are
just the two of us. I can't sing. I don't know why I tried that.
We're fresh off Halloween.
It is November 1st.
Right now.
Which means, so normally we edit a couple weeks in advance.
Yes.
You will actually get this a couple days after we record.
So it's election day. This is coming out. So if you haven't voted already, please get out there now. You better be listening to us from the polls. Get out there and vote. Yeah, but how okay, so let's talk about the other important things.
That's right.
How was your Halloween?
Halloween.
Yes.
So Danielle knows, but for those of you all listening who don't know, I live in the neighborhood for Halloween in Columbia. We broke our record last night.
I was wondering, I was waiting for it to come up.
I posted kind of late because I got busy.
You did.
With people.
I was like, where's the numbers?
People were hanging out. After I turned off the lights and stuff, people didn't leave quite yet. Yeah, I couldn't just be like, please leave my house so I can let the masses know.
Well, then it was funny because I saw other people I know posting and they didn't say where they were, but I knew from the yard decorations. So I was like, they're at Eva's house.
Yeah. Lindsay got a great new picture out of my front yard. Yes.
New profile pic.
Yeah.
So how many did you have?
3,422.
Okay, so here's my question.
You only have one?
Oh no, we're nowhere near like that, but it's a pretty constant pack of children.
Yes.
And this sounds so good, but I live in a golf cart community, if you will.
God.
So I walked as the children rode in a golf. It's a whole thing. Anyway, I'm not proud of it. No, we have a good constant flow of children in the neighborhood, but it's nowhere near.
Do you close your door and stuff in between, or do you just sit on your porch?
No, we always stay on the porch.
Okay.
I mean, even our old neighborhood that we used to live in, it didn't have as many as this neighborhood, but we still that was the only way I met my neighbors before.
Yeah, I know my neighbors already because I walk around and I'll randomly go up on their porch.
I'm good.
Invite myself to their parties. I'm like, hi, I'm Eva. I'm an extrovert. Do you want to hang out?
No, I say
no.
That is what I say. If anyone says, hi, I'm an extrovert, I'm like, nice to know you.
You're like, I've already got one. There's only room for one.
I'm at my quota.
Yeah. Eva's a lot.
Oh, I remember what my question was.
Yes.
So you had posted, it was 3,400 something, but then you said,
22.
Yes. And then you said you ran out of candy at 3,000.
No, we ran out of candy at 3,422.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So we ran out of candy right after 9 p.m. So
now this makes sense. I thought you had 400 people that came to your house and got nothing.
No.
What do you do?
So normally, so the way I do it is I buy a lot of candy.
Yeah.
I think I started with 1,800 pieces.
Yeah.
And then I go through my son's candy for anything that he hasn't eaten or I know he's not going to eat. You may have gotten a piece of saltwater taffy from the beach this summer that we just didn't like the flavor at the end of the day. It's fine. It's candy. So I buy a bunch and then I have people come over to help hand out candy and they bring some as well. So at one point I had one of those giant IKEA bags full of candy twice.
Man.
So I filled it up before anybody got there and then people would bring it more. And then at one point somebody was like, oh yeah, there's no way we'll run out. So the first trick-or-treater came at 4:30.
Yeah.
They closed the streets at 5. I usually they open the streets back up at 9, and I usually sit outside until 9:30 or 9:45. But right after 9 o'clock, not only had we run out, but we confiscated the candy from one of the teenagers that was at my Halloween party with his permission. Sure. His mom was like, "I'll buy you a Costco bag."
Yeah,
and because we were right below 3,400, and I was like, I need a nice even number. I can't.
Oh yeah.
33.97. Are you insane? So 34.22. So yeah, we ran out of candy.
There you go.
Halloween was a Thursday this year.
Yeah.
Next year it'll be a Friday.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So I've decided I'm going to buy half off candy at Valentine's Day and Easter and every other. It's chocolate.
I love it.
Yeah. So you might get a little medley.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like that's to be expected. If you're going to go to a neighborhood that's like that many.
Yes. It's a whole vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't expect to get whatever you're given.
Well, and the whole thing, like several kids will come back twice, which is fine. We expect that. We know that. Like, that's fine. So yeah, it's I love it. It's a lot when people move into the neighborhood. I'm like, hello, nobody told me. When I
actually thought about this.
Yes,
like when you buy a house in this location, are people warned?
No,
I mean,
it's after they move in, and we're like, hello.
But can you imagine like moving to Columbia, knowing nothing about this neighborhood? You move in.
Oh, people will move there from the city, like from elsewhere in Columbia, and not have any idea. Because
they don't know.
If you don't have, I didn't know when I moved in, and it wasn't that big.
I guess I know because I have so many friends that live in this area.
Right. You know several people in the neighborhood. Also, if you have children, you know. But if you don't know somebody who lives in my neighborhood, and if you don't have children,
you learn
don't know. There's a lot of people that I tell them they have no idea.
Oh, it's wild.
Yeah.
Can you imagine though?
Well, so nobody told me. They kind of told me my first year.
Yeah.
And so I went back out. And back then we just used to get 800 or 900.
Just a few.
Back in the old days. Because they were like, did you get stuff for Halloween? And I was like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about it yet. Because in my parents' neighborhood growing up, they got trick-or-treaters, but not so many that you had to like sit outside. And my mom would make these little treat bags because it was mostly kids in the neighborhood.
Sure.
And it was like a reasonable amount. And so I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do that or what. And they just looked at me. They're like, you're going to go to Costco. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And you're going to buy something in bulk.
Like, here, just let us tell you what you're going to do.
I don't think I decorated the first year because like I just didn't. Yeah. I didn't know. And so now people move into the neighborhood and we tell them. And then some people I like starting early and being one of the last people out.
Yeah,
I just like it. But so many people, and that's cool. It's fine. Are just like, no, I buy X amount. And whenever I'm out, I like turn off my lights and I'm done. So a lot of people were out at like 6:15.
Wow.
6:30.
Most people don't even start by then.
No. I think Shelly posted because Shelly lives like a block from me. I think she was out by like 7.
Wow.
And she had 50 pounds of candy. I didn't weigh mine this year. I just counted the pieces. I think she said 7. So anyways, lots of people will do it in the beginning and then shut down. And then the people who come later will probably get hit more than once because there's less houses.
Well, sure.
But it's fine. I love it. I live for it. I love it. I love it. And I was thinking the other day because I don't know. I want this and not like the type of Halloween where like I have to hang out at my house and like wait for people to ring my doorbell. Like I want this or nothing. Like I want this extreme chaotic version of it.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go to somebody else's house. Like I don't want normal. I want this.
I will say, I think I've been lucky that I've always lived somewhere where it's been a constant flow of kids. Yeah. So it's never been like knock on the door, wait 10 minutes, knock on the door. Like, I can't imagine that.
I mean, maybe I would still do it, but like everywhere else I've lived, nobody ever came by.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were all in Elmwood Park. I mean, like my friends Ubered over just because they didn't want to have to park anywhere. And they're like, they got dropped off like 4 or 5 blocks from my house because they're like, we couldn't get anywhere near your house.
Well, I was thinking that too. The people that were coming, like you can't get anywhere close.
They park all over the place.
Is there like a parking spot?
Well, that's the thing. I was like, because I don't know, because I don't leave.
Yeah, you don't have to go anywhere.
And they're like, no, there's like parking like
for this.
No, but all the businesses on Main Street like will let you park there or whatever. But I was like, we're like the fair.
You are like the fair.
We are. So many houses had DJs. There was a guy walking around with a chainsaw with no chain in it, but like
still terrifying.
But it was cool. I love it. Cool. I live for it. I
love it.
Yeah. So I was running very late today and I'm a very stressita because not only did I do all that yesterday and my son and I didn't go to bed until midnight. Yeah. And then I had to get him up and get him somewhere this morning. I decided all my decorations have to come down now.
Okay. Next important question.
Yes.
Do you go straight to Christmas decorations or do you actually have Thanksgiving decorations? Or wait, would you have Thanksgiving decorations?
Right. So it's a multi-tiered question. Let's unpack.
There's a lot of layers.
There's a lot going on here. Welcome back to the Danielle and Eva show where we just ramble for a while before we talk about anything business or design related. I had fall decor for a while when I first moved into my house. My mom gave me a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And so for a little while, I did the whole like decorate the whole house, but it was fall, not Thanksgiving. Yeah. So and some of that was like, here's a ceramic thing that's a jack-o'-lantern. Well, now I'm going to turn it around. It's just a pumpkin, right?
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore.
Yes.
Last year, and if you know me personally, you know why last year was different.
Yes.
I'm not going to get into that. But last year, I don't do anything for Thanksgiving per se, but I put up my Christmas tree in like the first week in November last year.
So here's where I stand on it.
I'm not doing that this year.
Well, no, this is where I stand because some people get very angry about this. So this might be a hot topic, but
hot take to cold cuts.
Hot take and cold cuts. But I used to be adamant, there's a certain time we got to do Halloween. There's a certain time we do Thanksgiving, certain time we do Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you do. And in my house, it was Christmas. So we had those ordered. And I never did much for Thanksgiving. To your point, again, it was take down maybe the skulls, but leave out the pumpkin.
Right.
But now that I'm older and I have child and she's getting older and we have lots of stuff going on. Now I find it's just easier if when I pack up all the Halloween stuff and I'm going into the attic, if I can go ahead and get all the Christmas stuff out. So now I've said, forget it.
Oh yeah.
Like if it's easier for me to put up a tree now, I'm putting up a tree now.
Yeah. So that was part of it last year. I don't go in my attic.
Yeah. I will say I have a walk-in one. Right. So it's not like I'm not going up ladders for it.
I don't go in my attic. And I decided last year for a lot of reasons that I really wanted to do my Christmas tree early.
Yeah.
And so now, and part of it was because somebody had to come get all my stuff out of my attic for me. And so like, I didn't want to ask them to come twice. So I was like, can you pull it all down at once?
Right.
Now I found a storage solution where I don't have to go in the attic.
There you go.
I can do Christmas whenever now. And like, I bought all these like yard decorations for Christmas last year.
Yeah.
I may not do them, even though last year I was so like excited to decorate the yard for Christmas.
Yeah.
I was going through it, y'all. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
And I put up my decorations for Halloween. I will say this, in the past, for a lot of different reasons, we would often end up setting up Halloween decorations like a couple days before.
Yeah.
This year I got them up on October 1st. Or not October, but near that, like the first weekend in October. So
the hurricane delayed.
Well, October 1st was a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But so because my Halloween stuff has been out for a whole month and I took it down, now I kind of don't want to put anything back in my yard.
Yeah.
Because I liked it, but it was like a whole vibe.
Oh,
and now
I
just kind of want my house to sit. So I'm probably not going to do anything inside the house for Christmas, which I only do at Christmas tree. I just put like garland down the rail. I ain't got it in me, man.
Do whatever you want to do.
Well, so I'm really like my tree. And so I just do my tree, but I'm probably not going to do that till after Thanksgiving. Maybe I'll do it the day before Thanksgiving. It could be something fun to do with my son while he's home. I don't know that I'm going to do the yard stuff for this year. I might.
Yeah.
But it's all in a closet now, so I can just pull it out whenever I want.
Yeah, it is fine. I just feel like as I've gotten older, there
ain't no rules.
No rules.
That's right.
Stop getting so heated about when other people put their decorations out and just let me do it when I need to do it. I'm trying to be a mom and run a business and do all the things.
Let me tell you something. If you are worried about when your neighbor is putting up decorations, I implore you, please reach out because I can give you real things to be worried about. I got a list.
We've got other things going on.
If it makes them happy.
Exactly.
Just let them go.
Remember during the pandemic, I feel like all of us put our decorations out early. Like we just needed some joy in our lives.
Also, what else were we going to do?
Nothing.
Correct.
All right. So we actually were talking about Halloween for a reason.
Yes. We're 15 minutes deep, but yeah. Welcome back.
This is what happens when it's just the two of us. Today's topic was going to be on getting ghosted.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, and what we mean by that, I think everyone knows what the term getting ghosted means, but for this podcast, we're specifically talking about how to handle getting ghosted by those potential new clients, or maybe your current clients are ghosting you. That might be a bigger issue.
Maybe.
Hunting down payments.
Yeah. I've had to do it.
We've had to do it.
Please pay your bill.
On a timely manner.
Just pay it. Timely's great.
Timely's ideal.
At some point, I just need you to pay it. I'm a little over, timely.
Yeah. And that was one thing before going freelance. Because of my position where I worked, I never had to deal with someone just not responding.
Right. You had other people to deal with that.
Other people were dealing with these things. So I never had to deal with it before. Right. So like we would work on proposals and we'd work on all the stuff to get new clients. And then I would hear if it was a yay or nay, or sometimes I'd work on bringing it in, but I wouldn't necessarily be on the one that would work on it, even if it did get brought in. So it's just not something I had to deal with. And then as I've entered freelance life,
the freelance afterlife. Remember, stay on brand.
It's literally the name of the podcast.
I mean, we've been doing this for more than a year. Stick with me.
But as I've entered this realm,
I mean, we have the lighting.
Yes, it only took us 2 years. 1 year.
Year and 3 months. We're doing great. Who's counting? It's fine. Continue.
But as I've entered this freelance afterlife, I've come to learn that it is common to get ghosted, especially by those potential new clients.
Yes.
And I think some people get very bothered by it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say it's ever really bothered me.
It's never really, the only time it's really bothered me.
When you have a giant proposal and they don't respond?
No.
That's the one time. I take back my statement already.
No. When it's, they call and it's urgent. And
yes.
They call and they're like, it's Tuesday and they need a logo by Friday. And
then they just don't respond when they get the proposal.
Right. And then I sent them a proposal at 9:00 that night saying like, okay, so this is, I'm sorry, but it'll be a rush fee to get it to you by Friday. Yes. But if you can give me another week, it'll be this much. And they, this whole thing about you got to write all this stuff, whatever, right? Yeah. They give you all these parameters because it's never something where they're like, just give me a price and I'll let you know yay or nay.
Right.
You always have to do like a whole thing until like I'm up at midnight and then I don't hear anything. Yeah. That's the only time it irritates me.
Yes.
If you've moved on, that's fine.
Yes.
If the timeline is shifted, that's fine.
Sure.
Also, like both of those scenarios when you didn't ask for some insane turnaround on just the quote because the insane turnaround was also on the work.
Yeah.
Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I prefer if you tell me like this thing's dead. That's cool.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I would actually prefer you respond
and just tell
say
me
we pick someone else, we're going another direction, whatever the reason is. Like we have tough skin. We've been in this industry long enough.
I'm fine.
We're fine with.
Yeah.
But like sometimes it would be nice to just know.
Right.
But I've come to realize sometimes just not hearing is, and I don't know if that's everywhere, if that's a Southern thing. I don't know. The reason I say this, I have learned.
Where are we going?
Because Northerners tend to be a little more direct and have no issue saying no to your face. And down here, we like to be very polite. And sometimes it's just easier to ghost someone than to say, no, I don't want to work with you.
Right.
Because that would be the polite thing to do. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know if it's a regional thing or if that's just the way of the land.
Well, and what's interesting in this specific scenario, because it's one thing if you want to decline working with somebody because you don't feel that they're a good fit.
Yes.
But the reality is if they've reached out to you and you're at the point where you're putting together a quote or a proposal or an estimate or whatever you call it, they've already vetted you and decided that they want to work with you.
Right.
That awkward part where they feel maybe bad that they're saying that like, I don't really like your work, which like, you don't have to like my work. Plenty of other people like my work. It's totally fine. You're past that. Like we've moved on.
You actually had to remind me of that. I think it was 2 weeks ago because I was having major imposter syndrome.
Oh, Pooh Bear. Yeah, I remember.
Because I was going after a new client and they came to me. They came to me to ask me if I would consider giving him an estimate for all this work.
Yeah.
And I was overthinking it so much in my head.
Us?
Me.
No, but us overthinking? Danielle? Never.
But you had to remind me, like, Danielle, they've already gone through the vetting process.
Yes.
Like, they went to you.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I think my exact words, because I say this to a lot of people, is people aren't nice just to be nice. Maybe in your personal life, but certainly not in your business life.
No, not in the business life.
Nobody is giving you work because they just want to be nice
to spend their money.
Now, there's nuances to who you award stuff to, right? So, like, I say this all the time. People like working with people they like. And so you'll get a bump from that. Like, you're more likely to get work from somebody that you have a good, like, relationship with or that you just, like, vibe with or whatever. But nobody is giving you work as a charity case.
Right.
You hear that. I hear that. Everybody listening to me hear that.
Hear it.
Use this as my social clip for the week. Nobody is giving you business as a charity case. You've earned this business.
Yes.
You've earned it. You've earned it. And so when you feel the imposter syndrome coming in as a freelancer, just remember, they ain't doing it because they want to be nice. They're doing it because they want to work with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So that's why when it never really bothers me, but when people decide they don't want to work with me based on a quote and they don't tell me, because if the response is just, you're outside of my budget, I've gotten those responses.
Yeah. Like, just tell me that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And then that can lead to one of three conversations, right? Like, or at least in my experience, it's gone one of three ways, where most of the time it's just like, okay, well, that, sorry, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Maybe we can work together later. 90% of the time, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come back and they ask, is there any flexibility in this? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no. It depends, right?
It just depends.
Sometimes I can meet you where you are and sometimes I can't.
Yeah.
And then one time a client reached out to me and wanted me to give a quote for branding.
Right.
So I gave him a quote and like an hour later, I got a response back that's like, thank you so much. I'm so sorry, but this is outside of my budget. Really bumps me out. I wanted to work with you.
Yeah.
Right, fine. No big deal. No big deal at all. I actually didn't have a chance to read that email because 2 hours later, I get another email back that was like, actually, you know what? I've thought about it. I really want to work with you.
Yeah.
And in the original email, it said like, it's not that I don't think you're worth this amount. It's just not within my budget.
Sure.
And so the second email was like, actually, you know what? I really want to work with you. I'm going to move some stuff around and make this happen.
Nice.
And that was so incredibly flattering.
Yeah.
That somebody like really wanted to work it out. And then so there was a second project that like I kind of cut him a deal on to kind of make it, because I get it. I get being on a budget, and it's like some of the coolest work that I've done in the last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, if people just don't get back, if you just got to tell me it's the money, just tell me it's the money. It's actually the less awkward thing to talk about.
Yeah, I'd rather it be a money thing than it be you just don't like me.
That's fine. Also, you could just
also,
not
I'm
like
okay
me,
with it.
and you can just not like my work. But my guess is that is not the situation if we've gotten to a point where you've asked for a quote.
If there's a situation where you actually came to me,
right,
then it's probably not the flatter. It's probably the budget situation.
Which is fine. That's
totally okay.
Fine, because we've both been on the other side, working relationships with vendors, and it's not a great email to write, but also it's an email. You typically don't have to tell me to my face. So that's also, you have the anonymity of being behind a keyboard. Like, just tell me.
That's right.
So it doesn't bother me. Do you ever follow up with the people who ghosted you?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
I don't either. I don't know. And it's not that clearly, like, if it was that important to you, it's not that I'm not trying to like push the work along, but clearly like if it didn't, and I know as somebody who was in-house for a long time, sometimes you get a bunch of quotes and then you have to take it to a committee and you have to take it to this person.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes 3 months to get anything approved.
Yeah. And sometimes, you have to go through multiple not interviews, but like multiple meetings to check. And then like I had one though, it was like multiple meetings and then they ghosted. And it was like, well, that one I really don't know.
Yeah.
But also then I entered my busy season.
Right.
So it's like, if I followed up at that moment,
right,
I don't know if I could have taken it on, but I'm like just kind of hoping if they do follow back up with me, maybe it'll be during like quarter one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and I'll see people later and they're like, oh my God, I never got back to you. And I'm like, it's fine.
It's fine.
And part of literally, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Because we talk about so much here and I would be very honest about it. Like,
yes.
Not as honest as I am when we're not on camera, but like fairly honest.
Yeah.
But it really does not bother me because this is a business.
Yes.
This is not my personal life. If you think I charge too much, if you don't like my work, if whatever you don't like about my business, I don't take that as a personal comment on me.
And it's not.
It's not. And even that's why, like, even if you're a friend of mine and you've hired me to do something, there is now a separation.
Yes.
I'm not going to like sass at you about like logo selection or like, font selection or whatever at the soccer game, unless you initiate that conversation.
Yes.
If you want to have that conversation because we happen to be right here, outstanding. Yes. Let's go. But I'm not going to like make it weird at your kid's birthday party.
Exactly.
I
right.
mean, like they could just go to the bounce house and we could just hang out and we don't have to like get into it. So
no, I think it's a good conversation to have because I think there's some freelancers that are, newer in their careers that maybe take it more personally. I feel like I have to say this to students a lot.
Yeah.
Which is like getting critiques and like getting ghosted, like anything along, like going on an interview and not hearing back.
Right.
You are going to go on a lot of interviews and you're not going to hear back because if they aren't hiring you, they don't have, majority of companies are not going to email you back if you're not on the next step of the interview process.
I always made a point to when I was hiring people though, just so they knew.
I will say the last time I had to hire, I had 700 some applications. So no, I was not.
But if you came in for an interview.
Oh yeah.
No, if you applied and you didn't hear from me, no, I'm not necessarily going to do that. But if you actually came in for an interview, I would let you know that you weren't making it next round.
Pretty far along, then we're gonna.
Well, that's different because we already have like an email exchange going on, presumably. So if you are newer in your career, whether that be you're still in school or you're like right out of school, or this podcast just hasn't beaten the imposter syndrome out of you yet.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
It hasn't beaten mine yet. So.
Get my number. I will just remind you all day.
I just have my weekly text to Eva.
Yeah, you're doing great. People aren't being nice just to be nice. They want to work with you. I'll send it to you too. If you are in that position, like I need you to know that this is also normal. We've all been there. It's part of the process. It's part of being a professional creative. Like it's part of the gig is that you constantly feel like, am I good enough? Like what's going on? They didn't answer me because they don't like me, whatever.
Right.
I had a little bit of this.
Yes.
This week.
Oh.
Or last week.
Share.
Yes, I will share. So I worked on something in the last month or so, and it's for an event, and I designed stuff for the event.
Yeah.
But this event also has some existing branding, but what I designed didn't have to be on brand. So,
sure.
Whatever. So I start seeing the promotions come out, and it's not anything that I've done.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It is consistent with existing branding.
Okay.
It's just not the specific stuff that I've done.
Right.
But technically, the pieces that I designed are very specific. So I'm like, well, maybe they just use them in those specific mediums and they don't replicate it elsewhere.
But in your head, you're probably like, where's my stuff?
Where's my stuff? You told me it was great.
You hired me.
Yeah. And I haven't quite been paid yet. It's fine. I know it's coming. But anyway, so then I saw something this morning, actually. And they tagged me with my stuff on it. So it's going great. It's fine. But I was just like, hold on. Yeah. You told me you loved it.
I actually had something very similar happen one time. Yeah. And it's funny. I realize we keep saying we don't have imposter syndrome. No, we do sometimes. Because sometimes little things like this bring it out and you start second guessing yourself. But I was hired by this client to do a redesign of their homepage. Mm-hmm. And I did it and we met, they loved it, we were good. And I was only going to do the homepage and then their team was going to finish out the rest of the project. And then months go by, months. And suddenly I see they have a new website.
But not your website.
It wasn't what I made.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I also know they're the type that it's they could have just said ooh, let's add this and just go complete. And then they maybe had more time in-house to do it, right? But I had that moment of, did you just not like what I made? But I know them and I know they probably did like what I made. It's just a more likely situation is plans change. Yeah. Because there was a lot of stuff on it that almost we didn't even talk about any of these things. Right. So, but no, it happens. Sometimes you start second guessing it. Yeah.
And it turns out fine. That reminds me of a very specific ghosting situation that I forgot happened until just now. Oh, normally I'm like, I'm not going to say the client name on the recording. I can't remember who it is.
Oh gosh.
But I can tell you the scenario. So if somebody's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to tell you who it was because I can't remember. But it was some company in Colombia that wanted a rebrand. Yeah. And had extensive conversations with me about the proposal.
Right.
Deep conversations, way more than I usually talk, which fine. Yeah. I mean, that's way more than what most people give me before I do the proposal. So due to the proposal, they were very transparent about who else was in the running, which that's great. If you tell me, you don't have to. Yeah. Awesome. And then I didn't hear from them. And I thought that we had kind of a finite timeline. And then I see that they were selected for Create-a-thon.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But Create-a-thon was a couple months later. So I think they probably I don't know how the timelines worked out.
Yeah.
But I was like,
were you a backup plan in case they didn't get selected?
Maybe. So that was interesting because I was like, I should follow up with them because we were in like heavy communication.
Yeah.
And then it completely died off. And then like, here's a creative thought. I was like,
oh man.
So I don't even know if they kept the brand. I don't know.
Again, it's one of the situations. Sometimes I would rather you tell me these things than find out through the social media.
Right.
Why things went differently.
Right. Just let me know.
Yeah, just tell me.
You could have also said, hey, we've decided to submit to Create-a-thon, or that could have been part of the, I don't know. Well, their apps go out pretty early. I have no idea.
That's what I'm wondering. Like maybe they were in the process.
I don't know.
They just didn't know if they get selected.
It was fine, but also you know that you're selected before they announce on social. So they could have let all of us in the running know.
Oh, yeah.
Don't ask me if you're listening and that was you. I'm sorry I'm talking about you, but I don't remember who you are.
Oh,
I don't remember which one it was. This was at least 4 years ago. It was like really early on.
Like it's this year. I think we're going to find out.
No. All right. So I forgot to mention this part. You can't see it, but if you see the social, we got spooky lighting now.
Yeah.
So it feels right that this was the Halloween episode.
We're going to carry this on. It's also our brand color.
No. We're going to do it, but
keep it going.
Feels right that this was the first one.
Yeah.
With Halloween and ghosting.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So people ghost you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I think the main thing is, and I think this is why I wanted to have the conversation, because I think since I've been in this industry long enough, I've already built that thick skin.
Yeah.
So like, even though I've only been full-time freelancing for just over a year now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how common the ghosting situation was, but I think it's helpful I built that thick skin beforehand.
Yeah.
Because it's made me not care as much when it does happen. I mean, I care, but not like it's not going to ruin my day.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of younger designers get kind of beat up over it. And I just want them to know it's not personal. It's personal.
Fine. It's fine. We also, though, are in a privileged situation that we have steady work. So like, I think early on, like when I'd first started, if I had reached out, I think some of those things would have stuck out my mind a lot more if I wasn't busy doing other stuff.
Sure.
And I'm like, no, I really need
when I was
this.
kicking things off,
it's different.
I was also much better about following up when I was kicking things off.
We were less busy.
Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right. Ghosting on Ghost Boss.
Ghosting on Ghost Boss.
Ghost Boss will never ghost you.
No. Ooh, I like We'll make it a sticker. Make a merch store, maybe.
That's right.
So next week, we are getting a guest back in the studio.
That's right, because we clearly can't be left unattended.
No, we need someone.
Half of this episode is about nothing.
Yes, and it's one of your friends from your J school days.
That's right. J school?
Yeah.
Say it. I'm sorry. Yeah, so my friend Sean, we've been friends. We met in college. I graduated in 05. He graduated in 06. Ended up working at Amazon. Has a really cool story about he ended up doing some work in outer space. I'm just going to say that.
We'll tease you with that.
Yeah.
And that will be it.
Yeah. But he's in town. He lives in Seattle. Clearly, if he worked at Amazon, he lives in Seattle. But he's in town coming on the podcast. He's doing a speaking gig with AAF, another one with AMA. He's speaking at the J School. He's doing a little mini tour.
A little mini tour around the Carolinas.
Yeah. So we're excited to see him. So he'll be on next week.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Ghost Boss Podcast. And also please like and review us on your favorite podcast app.